Namaskar. I am Dr. Yogesh Batra and I am a senior consultant in gastroenterology at Hospitals Noida. Today we will be talking about alcohol. So why alcohol? Because this is the festive season and in this season everyone tends to drink. Christmas, New Year are the times when people are happy, we are enjoying the end of the year and we consume a lot of alcohol. So I want to tell you today about alcohol, its effects on the body, and what is responsible drinking, which means that how we can minimize the bad effects or the side effects of alcohol. So alcohol is probably the most common addictive substance which has been used in the world, and for the last probably 10,000 years, some form of alcohol or the other has been consumed by civilization. Alcohol has been manufactured from things like rice, potato, any sugar cane. So all vegetables, all things which could be fermented have been converted into alcohol, and alcohol has been then used to drink and to give us a kick. Anytime which is celebration time, we drink. The European countries or the Western countries, no religious festival can take place without alcohol. So when a child is born, he is given alcohol. Baptism has some alcohol. Marriages can only be solemnized with alcohol. So in some religions, even death is associated with alcohol. So in the Western nations, alcohol carries that great a significance that nothing can be done without alcohol. The question is that Westerners consume large amounts of alcohol and nothing happens to them. However, we in India, if we consume that amount of alcohol, we'll end up in liver disease. So what is the reason? The reason is that we are not genetically predisposed to handle large amounts of alcohol. That is why, although the Western nations have alcohol component in all religious activities, we do not. So none of the Indian religions recommend that you consume alcohol as part of any celebration. In fact, whatever religion you look into in India, whether it is Hinduism, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, alcohol is actually discouraged. What does alcohol do? Why are we so worried about alcohol? The largest organ of the body which suffers because of alcohol is the liver. So even if you consume alcohol today and you do a LFT, a liver function test tomorrow morning, you will see a rise in the liver enzymes. If you go on consuming alcohol, then there is a continuous inflammation which happens in the liver. And finally, because of this inflammation, the liver kind of gives up and jaundice sets in. If you still do not stop, the jaundice persists, the liver goes on being destroyed, and as it happens in any destruction, the liver becomes scarred, it becomes fibrous. So when there is a cut on your hand, the healing takes place with fibrosis. So what are little areas of the liver are left? These are healed by fibrosis. And finally, the liver becomes scarred. And because of this scarring, the liver's size comes down. So जब ये होता है तो इसके इफेक्ट्स क्या होते हैं? तो इसके इफेक्ट्स ये होते हैं कि पैरों में सूजन आती है, पेट में पानी आता है, पीलिया बनता है, एंड उसके बाद दिमाग पे असर पड़ता है, माने हेपेटिक एनकेफेलोपैथी। कहानियां खत्म नहीं हो जाती. Eventually, with long-standing alcohol consumption, liver cancer comes in, and then it becomes a very, very difficult situation. So once the liver becomes affected, we either have to stop alcohol and hope for its recovery, or we end up in liver transplant. Therefore, it is much better actually not to consume alcohol than to go in for these effects of alcohol. Liver is not the only organ of the body which is affected by alcohol. Alcohol is something which affects the body from head to toe. So it can affect the brain, causing brain degeneration, things like Alzheimer's, dementia. It is said that after every bout of drinking, there is a destruction of the brain cells. It can affect the eyes, causing blindness. It can affect the oral cavity. All cancers are increased in those who consume regular alcohol. It can affect the heart, causing cardiomyopathy, lungs, the GI system other than the liver, and it can also affect fertility. So it is said that although alcohol increases the desire, but it reduces the performance. So, knowing all this, do we need to drink? Ideally, no. There was a time when cardiologists were advocating the use of regular alcohol as a way to get rid of anxiety. Also, there was an opinion that a drink in the evening is good for the heart. So, all that is gone. No alcohol is good for the human body, and alcohol should not be consumed. Having said that, there are occasions when we do need to consume alcohol. A large number of us like alcohol, and on social occasions, on parties, we want to drink alcohol. So, what is the way that you can actually consume some amount of alcohol and yet not get the after effects, the side effects, or the adverse effects of alcohol consumption? So, first of all, the total quantity of alcohol. There is a concept known as alcohol equivalence. Alcohol equivalence means that one peg of whiskey is equivalent to one glass of wine, which is equivalent to 350 ml of beer. So there's a very common misconception that हम तो beer पीते हैं, beer तो पानी जैसी होती है. Beer पानी नहीं होती. Beer में भी उतना ही alcohol होता है जितना whiskey में होता है. So do not consume more than one alcohol equivalent on any occasion, and not more than 2 alcohol equivalents in a week. Try to minimize the consumption of alcohol. Another way to reduce the effects of alcohol is that first have food and then have alcohol, rather than having alcohol before meals, because that does not lead to a spike in the alcohol levels and it does not destroy the liver. Third is have alcohol over a long period of time. So if you have to drink, then take a glass of whatever your favorite alcohol drink is and keep it there for 1 or 2 hours. So if you drink over a long period of time, again, very slow levels are generated in the body, which the body can take care of easily. Fourth, do not mix alcohol. So do not have beer with wine, wine with beer, wine with whiskey. The more kinds of alcohols you mix, the greater the chances of problems happening because of alcohol. Do not indulge in binge drinking, which means do not consume a large amount of alcohol together at one go, because binge drinking, having 3, 4, 5 glasses of whiskey or its equivalent, is much more harmful than having small amounts of alcohol on a regular basis. So binge drinking is a strict no. So when we party, we at times lose track and we go on consuming large amounts of alcohol. So that is something again which is strictly to be avoided. Finally, if you have any problem secondary to drinking, you need to consult your physician, your gastroenterologist, your hepatologist. And in the end, I would just say that do not consume alcohol at all. That is the best way to maintain a disease-free mind in which you're not even attracted towards consumption. Thank you very much.